okay, 2014, 2013. What happened? How did DamnitBennett come about, and what games or what resonated with the community?
So DamnitBennett has always been a thing. For those that don't know, my name is actually Bennett. And it really started with my dad. And
Okay.
I had just gotten my permit to drive, and we were driving in Sarasota, Florida. I believe it was Fruitville Road. And I'm driving down, the light's green, looks good. Keep going, I'm going like 45, whatever. And the light turns yellow. And I'm like, my dad's like, slow down. Slow down. I didn't slow down. Slow down. It starts to escalate a little bit. And eventually it's like, slow down. Damn it, Bennett, go. And like, I definitely, I say that I did not run the red light, but my dad disagrees. He definitely says I did. But after that, he's like, pull over, get out.
Oh
Get
man.
in the passenger. He was mad, and I understood, but it was the funniest thing because it was damn it, Bennett. And then from there it grew into
I
like
didn't
kind of
know
a
that.
joke if I would do something stupid or especially in gaming, it was like, damn it, Bennett, man, come on, and you hear that all the time. You watch my stream, I will like today I missed a snipe that I should have had. I'm like, damn it, Bennett, like.
Oh,
And
when you were on the balcony, I think I remember.
yeah, you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
actually,
I was
it's like,
watching,
oh, I
man.
know,
I'm a
I
real
know that
one.
snipe that you missed. You should have gotten that one.
I'm a
like,
real one, Bennett. Hello, everyone. My name is Avi Sastry, and welcome to the State of the Game podcast. Today's episode is episode 5, and I have an amazing guest with us today. His name is DamnitBennett. I'm going to give him a slight little intro, but I'll let him do most of the talking tonight. Bennett is currently a Twitch partner, an Esports Strategist at Full Sail University, and also the co-owner of WhereIsZer.com. And he's going to talk a little bit more about this, but most of you guys don't know, but Bennett's beginnings didn't really start with gaming, or Bennett will tell you more about that. He was actually a musician. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Bennett. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm still getting used to the intros and stuff like that, but hopefully I didn't
Absolutely.
butcher it.
It feels weird at first, and you start streaming or doing stuff like this, and then eventually like few weeks, months down the line, it's like second nature, and you don't even think about, this was weird before. Like I didn't know what I was doing before, but now it just seems natural, and it'll come to you. So you got it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I've been watching you actually, just so the audience knows, we met, I think, about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
or maybe a year ago,
Yep.
right? I was actually watching you, but I didn't know who you were. Actually, maybe I would say a couple months before we met. So I'm so glad you're here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I think obviously we just did the trial, and I'm sure we'll get into that later as far as the wall mounted PC was concerned, and that was about a month ago, right?
Right.
So it's been a month since I had to give it back to you guys, but it's been fun, man. I'm glad to be here.
Sure, man. I appreciate that. So I'm so excited because I want to get into how you built your DamnitBennett brand, where you got into gaming, and I want to move into that. And then a little bit later on in the show, I want to have a candid conversation about esports, but not like the star-studded players or anything like that. I want to talk about how esports is going to provide jobs, because a lot of people are looking for opportunities, and I know you're the right person for me to extract that information or have a conversation with. But let's get into it, man. You're known as DamnitBennett, the man, the menace with the beard. I don't want to mess with your brand or anything like that, but I want to get into it. So if you can give the audience a little 30 seconds on where you are now, and then dive into how you came about it from the early stages, like where you grew up, what games you were playing, and stuff like that. I would love that.
Yeah, so my name's Bennett Newsome. I go by DamnitBennett on the internet. And we'll get into how I got that name. But yeah, I've been streaming now for about 5 years. It's one of those things that I've been passionate about it for a really long time. And gaming has been a huge part of my life since I was a kid. and having an opportunity to now work in the games and esports industry is like an absolute dream come true. It's kind of one of those things that you didn't even think was not possible, but then it wasn't even like in the front of my mind of this is something that I could be doing. And I just started doing it, and that was the first step for it. So we've been partnered for like I think 2 years now. And yeah, thanks. And it's been an amazing journey so far, and it's full of ups and downs, and exciting times and sad times. And you know, I think the hardest part about streaming is seeing someone that comes in your chat and you're talking and you become friends, and then they just disappear and you don't know what happens to them, right? And then maybe like one day, like a year later, they show back up and like, hey man, how's it going? And you're like, oh my God, I've missed you. You know, like, and but sometimes they never show back up, and that hurts sometimes, man, especially when you've been friends for years and played games, and then they just one day disappear. So it's got its ups and downs. It is challenging, but it is absolutely a passion driven, you know, industry. And it's led me to, you know, this dream career again, that I you know, never thought that, you know, I was going to be in. So as far as like origins, if you will, you know, I grew up in Minnesota. Huge hockey fan, played hockey since I could walk. I think I learned how to skate at like 3 years old, maybe. You know, obviously growing up in Minnesota, you spend a lot of time indoors during the winters, and you know, my parents had an Atari, and my sister and I would play on that all the time. And then eventually we got a NES, and that was just like the craziest thing. But I think the memory that sticks out the most to me about my childhood and gaming is for Christmas one year, my parents, or Santa, got me a Sega 32X. So I had a Sega, and then the 32X was that, you know, thing that you put in where the game would go, and it would, instead of it being 16-bit or whatever Sega was, it was then 32-bit. So the graphics were groundbreaking, and it was insane. And I remember just playing a ton of Doom, and then Virtual Racing with my dad and my sister. And like Virtual Racing, if you look it up online, like the videos of it from Sega 32X, it is straight up polygons that look like race cars. And I thought it was groundbreaking at the time, and it was the coolest thing. So I just remember that. It was such a great memory and such a good time, you know, that I love gaming. But I started playing guitar right before we moved to Florida in '96, and my dad got relocated for work, and basically, you know, that's what I did. I had a bunch of friends in Minnesota. I came down to Florida. I didn't know anybody, you know, and so I just started learning how to play, and eventually made some friends with some other kids that played, you know, musical instruments, and formed a band at like 14. And by my senior year, I think it was actually a junior year of high school, we got signed to an indie label, band
awesome.
called the Buck Short. And you know, we put out an album and did a bunch of touring, and it was wild. It was one of those things. It was like, okay, we're gonna try to do this. So after college, you know, continued through that world of music, and playing in a ton of different bands. Some had some success, some didn't. Some were just for fun. Some were just like, hey, we're a bunch of friends that we're gonna make some music together, and it was great, man. I loved every second of playing music and performing and being on stage, and especially the touring aspect. That was something that I would never forget, and you know, really, it kind of had you understand that it was more than just music, right? It was more than just being decent at playing guitar and singing and writing music as a band. Like, there was so much more to it than just that. You know, people are like, oh, if you have a good song, people will hear it. And that's not the truth. Like, you have to promote it. You have to get it out there. You have to get it in front of people. And that's really hard. So I always had that role as kind of like the business dude in the band. You know, I was always booking shows and talking to promoters and marketing things and building websites. So I just had to like learn how to do all of these things. So I learned how to code. I learned how to do graphics. I learned how to market. I learned MySpace, Facebook, insert whatever it was. You know, like you had to learn how to do all these things to promote yourself. And after a while, I just started getting really kind of sick of having to do all of the work for, 5 people. And then
that's a lot to manage. Holy crap.
It was just kind of like, oh man, this isn't as much fun as it used to be, like when you were younger and you're doing that. Yeah, it was fun. But after a while, I just kind of like, I think I'm done playing music. And right around the same time is when I discovered Twitch. And I think that honestly had a little bit to do with myself and starting to kind of step away from the music world, was finding Twitch. And I'd always watched, been understood and knew what Justin TV was. And it was right in that kind of crossover period of when, Twitch came to life. Right. And so I started watching and I was like, this is really cool. And then, PS4 announced that they were going to, you were going to be able to stream to Twitch from your PS4. And I was like, sick. All right, this is it. Let's do it, And that was really the time. And at that time I was doing both. I was still playing music, but instead of like getting home from work and like going and practicing, on the guitar, I was going home and I was streaming.
This was 2013?
Yeah,
that time?
Around there, yeah.
Gotcha.
And that was such a different thing. And so eventually I decided that I was going to step away from music and, get into, try to just do this streaming thing. It was fun. And the best part about it was kind of using all of the same skills that, you needed to have as a musician, as, understanding graphics, building your overlays, marketing yourself, doing all of those things. But, it was just you. You didn't have to worry about 5 other people that were in your band, and having to deal with those personalities. You could just do you. And that was the thing that I really liked. I'm just going to go do me. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. And, that was it, and from there, after getting a taste, of, this is cool. You have your first couple viewers that weren't your friends that you told to come and just like, hey, just come turn on your computer, just like let's game or whatever, and like, so people started coming back, and I was like, okay, now it's time that we're going to invest. Like I think now I have to sit down and actually start to invest in building, whatever this is, right? And bought my first gaming PC, and then started streaming to that, and then the rest I guess is history. But at that point, it was really one of those things that I didn't necessarily tell a whole lot of people at Full Sail about.
Which, by the way, you were still working at Full Sail at the time, right?
Yeah, I've been at Full Sail now for 13 years, I'm gonna say.
Oh man, you're an OG there.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, everybody always knew me as the guy that was in bands, right? And so I just started doing this other thing, and eventually people found out and started telling other people, right? Like, hey, I know that we're doing these things with esports. Have you talked to Bennett? Because like he does that stuff. Like, like you guys should talk to him. Like you should have a conversation. So sure enough, I did, and I had a conversation with my boss now, and they were like, hey, do you want to be involved? I was like, absolutely, like 100%.
So this is insane, because I want to backtrack a little bit, because I really want to capture that moment. You were a musician, but you also exhibited traits of being an entrepreneur, being someone who takes risks, or someone, like you were saying, you were a self-starter, a self-learner, learning how to code, creating websites, doing all the graphics. Did you know what you were getting into back then, or you were just doing it?
Not.
Okay, that's absolutely insane right there, right?
Yeah.
That's like putting a lot onto your back, because maybe you just love doing it, or maybe you saw a vision of something that you could grow. I mean, could you explain that? Were you talking to your musician buddies like, guys, we should create a website, or how was it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so from an early age, I've always been into tech. You know, that's always
Mm,
been a thing that I've really been attracted to. I had a web design class that I took when I was in high school, and I had to go to school early to take the class because I didn't have a room for it in my schedule.
mhm.
Um, and we would design the school's website, and maintain the website. That's what that whole class was. So
Oh, I see.
when I think it was my senior year of high school, they were like, you can't take this class. I was like, well, I want to still take it. And they're like, well, we can't fit it in with all these other things. I was like, well, I'll just come early and do it, you know?
Dang.
And that was, I mean, this is back in the days of like Macromedia Flash, you know, like it's dated now, but you know, it was fun. And I really enjoyed that. I really loved computers. I really liked understanding the technology
Right.
and getting involved. And I really love to dabble in all of the different areas, you know. So I wanted to be versatile in graphics and motion graphics, and I wanted to understand coding, and I wanted to understand HTML, and you know, really kind of understand all of it and how to make it work together. And that was something that was really for me, you know, something that I really wanted to do. And then once I, you know, obviously started doing the bands thing, I was like, wait, I've got all these skills that I've learned. I can just apply them to music, and I can start to learn on top and kind of add to those different things as we, you know, would go through the process. So you know, it's one of those things where I think, you know, when you learn something like that, you're a learner for life. You know,
Right.
you just have to keep learning it. Because once you stop, once you think you got it, you know, it's tough. Like web design now, man. Oh God, it is way over my head now because I just kind of stopped doing that part of it, and you know,
Freaking PHP, React,
oh God,
WordPress. I
yeah,
mean, all
I'm
that
out of
stuff
my
is just
league there.
words to me. You know what I mean?
But it's really exciting to see
Right.
where it's gone, and
Right.
you know, it's definitely you know, one of those things for me, you know, obviously, you know, has led to several kind of offshoots of directions, you know, in this industry, which is exciting. And I think that's the really fun part.
You know, being an outsider looking in, I mean, I just want to say this because I keep want to, you know, I want to make sure that this conversation with you, I can really take it and share it with people that might have been having a tough time right now.
Yeah.
So I want you to make an analogy because even back then, right now, a lot of people who might have just came off college or who are trying to find their path, or maybe they're not liking their job, you seem to be if someone, you know, freaking music and gaming, bro.
Yeah.
That's not your okay. I'm going to be an accountant. No, not talking trash to all the accountants out there. I'm an
Very
engineer by
important. Very
trade, right?
important.
Very important. And that's not like putting on, you know, taking your suitcase to go to a job. Like you were comfortable, and let me know if I'm wrong, with the unknown
Yeah.
a little bit. You know, can you talk a little bit about right now? Because right now, a lot of people, there's a lot of unknown. Could you talk about how you took your passion into making it something that can possibly make you money or give you some financial
Yeah.
freedom?
So I think, I mean, first and foremost, and I know that everyone doesn't have this same situation. My parents have been 100% supportive of honestly everything that I've ever tried to do, and they've encouraged it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do it. You know, like go if you want to go play music, go play music. You know, who
Mm-hmm.
cares what anybody says? Go do it. You know, and that was a huge kind of deal that I had that support structure. So I'm very thankful and very blessed to know that you know I had you know parental you know figures that wanted me to be successful in something that I actually cared about. You know,
Right.
so that's part of it. The other part that I've always kind of um, been really stubborn about is when someone tells me that I can't do something,
Mm-hmm.
I literally go and do it. Like, no, I'm going to go do that, you know,
I
and I
feel
figure
you.
out a way,
Right.
right, to figure out a way to how can I make this work for me. But to kind of answer your question, I think that people out there that are struggling to find the thing, and I talk about this all the time with streaming. There's a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to start streaming and I'm going to quit my job and just stream full time, and like
Mm-hmm.
that's the absolute wrong way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to be very careful of making your situation worse by doing things like that. My kind of advice to people when they talk about streaming or asking that question is always do this as a hobby. Do it something as that you're doing it on the side when you can. And obviously with streaming, there's a consistency part, so that it's tough, it's hard. But do it until it becomes something that can be a permanent thing. And I think you can apply that to a lot of these situations where going out and being involved in things is really important. A lot of people, especially when I'm, doing a panel or I'm at an event, we're doing something in the Fortress, a lot of questions like, how do I get involved? How would I be involved and break into the gaming industry and esports industry or streaming industries, whatever it may be. And obviously prior to the pandemic, this was a little bit different, but I know that we're going to get back to a place where we're going to have events and go out and do things. But my best advice in those situations is volunteer. Get out into a place where you can go and do the things that you want to. If there's an esports event happening, like go and try to figure out what you can do. Maybe you're just taking tickets the first time that you volunteer, but like do that really, really well. Be the best ticket taker there that you can. And then talk to the people like, hey, what else can I do for you? And always do what they ask you. If they ask you to do something, go do that. Don't do something else and be like, oh, I did this thing also. They asked you to do that one thing. They've probably got those other things covered. So just do the things that they're asking you to do and do them to the best of your ability. And most likely they're going to remember you, especially if you did a really good job. Anytime that we have people, volunteer for events at the Fortress and they do a killer job, like in my mind, I'm like, well, we got to have this person back. They did this so well. I want them to try this thing next, and like we can put you in a different position to help. And all of a sudden you start building your resume because you volunteered so many times that now you have like something to show up. Oh, I've done this. I've done that. I've done this. Like, so I don't know if that answers your question entirely.
But no, I think
I kind of went off on a tangent.
No, you provided. I think when people look at it right now, they see a road and they see leaves and branches and it's dark, but you pierce through it a little bit because you have a formula that might have worked for you and you're sharing it. So I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I would say too is just do it. Just do it. Don't hesitate. If you want to start streaming, just do it. Again, do it smartly and don't go all in. I got to buy a $5,000 computer setup to do it. No, you don't. You literally grab your PlayStation or Xbox, use that, just stream, see what it's like. You don't want to spend all this money and then realize like, actually, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun. Why people do this is great. Like that could be your reaction to it. And I would hate for you to spend a bunch of money to learn that, but just go out and do it, man. Like that's the best advice I think anybody can have is just if there's something you want to try it out, see what it's like, see what happens. And then from there, iterate, move on and see, okay, I can do this now. I can change these aspects and this is going to get better. So,
and remind me, Bennett, because I want to talk about resources and I kind of want to talk about that more in esports because it seems you have a key insight and resources. But one quick question, and this is all just to provide more value, is a lot of people feel alone right now. Yeah. And alone meaning, not alone like, oh, I don't have a significant other. Not that. I mean like alone in starting something new.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you, being an entrepreneur, when you start a new business, like you feel alone unless you have partners or mentors or people. Being a streamer or a content creator is someone that, you feel alone because your audience might not be people that are doing what you're doing, but you have to find a pocket or a community that you can feed ideas off of each other to keep moving. And I feel like some keywords I analyzed when you're talking, you talked about friends or you had a community, or every single time you took a venture that's risky, you talked about people with you. And I've noticed that. Can you talk about the importance of that? Because it's really important, right? Especially right now with people taking steps.
Absolutely. I think community is such a huge part of all of this, especially in the streaming world and gaming. It all comes back to that community. I think one of the best things that I ever did for my streaming career was there was this meetup in Tampa years ago. And it was a bunch of, pretty big Twitch streamers, Professor Broman, King Gathalion, and you know, some other folks. We're all it was this like secret meetup that was going to happen, and it was between these few people that were going to come down, and then like it got out, and then other people like, what? I'll come down to that too, you know, and then I'll also come down to that, and I'm like here in Orlando, and I'm like, I'm also going to go to that, you know, like, and 1,000 people showed up at an ale house in Tampa to meet all of these Destiny streamers and hang out, and eventually they were like, you gotta go. And there was this other bar that everybody went to. I forget the name. It was like an Irish pub. But we packed the house. Like we literally like Goth walked up to the door. Was like, hey, can me and like 700 of my friends come in? They're like, mm-hmm. You know, they let us in. And that was like the first gaming community really experience that I had. And I printed out a big stack of DamnitBennett business cards, and I like met Professor Broman for the first time, and I was like, hey man, you know, Tyler is in chat, and he's like, dude, I was there, Guardian Con 101, yeah, or 1.0, yeah. And I handed you know business cards to people, and I started networking and meeting people, and so that community part was such a huge part of me not being alone and being afraid to go out and do something. You know what I mean? Okay. And I think that plays a big part into this. And I can totally understand that, you know, you put out a video, you make a YouTube video, and like you got 7 views. You're like, man, that sucks. But then that one person comments like, dude, good job, man. Like, I really like this, you know, and it's like, you cherish guy on the internet. Thank you. You know, like
I reply to every comment, man.
Exactly. Like, and that's important. Have those conversations, talk to your audience, and yeah, it maybe is only one person. But I think I lean back into the music analogy here. It's like, yeah, we toured a lot. Sometimes we would play at a club and there would be 3 people, and those 3 people happened to be the bartenders, you know, like, and that was it. And so you play your music, you do your set, they maybe give you some free beer, and then you're on your way. But like, if you play a good show, especially with no one there, and the bartender's like, this band rocks, you know, like the next time you come through that town, hopefully the bartenders are like, hey, yo, this band's coming, they killed it last time, you got to come check them out. And all of a sudden now there's, you know, 10 people there, and then the next time you hit that town again, there's 30 people there, you know, and like, and you build it on that. And so take care of the people that are there in your comments when you have 7 views and they're talking to you, and like interact with them. You know, you have an opportunity to build your own community, and that is one of the best parts about streaming, is getting to meet new people and inviting them into your life, and them inviting you into theirs. And I think it's a shared kind of you know, thing that you have when you do this, and it makes it worth it. And I think feeling alone is definitely a side effect of where we are currently, you know, but at the same time, I think as you kind of step outside of your box and your comfort zone and say, all right, I'm going to do it, you understand it, and it gets easier. And then you start to open up your eyes and see, whoa, there's actually like some cool things happening right now. And you continue to, you know, to do that. So,
I couldn't put it better myself. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you get it.
It's you make a huge point, because, you know, everything you talked about just now, like, oh yeah, I went to this event, you know, it's that thing that you're putting 100% every single time you can. Even like, you know, you were talking about playing music when there were just 3 people and those people were bartenders, but you still put in that 100%. You know, a lot of people, and I'm not trying to generalize here, but some people, when they don't see an audience or they don't see, you know, the fruits of their labor, they don't give that 100, you know. And that's really interesting, because if you don't give your 100 every single time, what happens when you don't have that audience, right? Where it's like, if a tree falls down in the forest and you no one hears it, type of thing. The integrity aspect of it, and that's something I took away from that conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, the live streaming is very hard, because you kind of have to be on for the whole time, right? You know, and that's why I think it's important to not burn yourself out, because I've been there. I've been there recently. When this pandemic started and I was working from home, I started streaming every night. It was every day I was streaming, and as much as I want to do that, I couldn't. Like I needed to have a day off and take time with hang out with my wife or do whatever. It was just so much, and like I don't know if I would ever be a full-time content creator and streamer on Twitch. Obviously I have this amazing career, with Full Sail, and that's really, a huge passion that we haven't even really talked about. Right. But it's one of those things where find your area, find the niche that you can be in, and do it to a point where you feel great, doing it, and you're coming in and you're on, because it is very hard to be on for, every day for all of the entirety of your stream all the time. And, that's the great thing about YouTube is you can kind of compact those things, the great things that happened in your stream, and then put it on YouTube. But, it's definitely, something that I think really is important to make sure for yourself and anybody that is interested in getting into it is that you take care of yourself, because that's the most important thing. You can't be 100% if your heart is not in it, and people will know. People especially gamers, they know if you're not real, if you're faking it, and be there for the right reasons. Have fun, build your community, play games with your friends, do the things that you want. And if you do that, man, the other stuff, it comes, and it happens. So, those are things that were told to me when I first started, and I'm grateful for having those, mentors in my career, to tell me about that,
And they're resonating with me here, so thank you. I know we have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to keep moving it on.
Yeah, let's go.
I want to talk about DamnitBennett, how the hell you came up with that, or the community came up with that. Yeah. Sure, because I think that's freaking cool what you were able to build, with your partner. So yeah. Okay, 2014, 2013. What happened? How did DamnitBennett come about, and what games or what resonated with the community?
So DamnitBennett has always been a thing. For those that don't know, my name is actually Bennett. And it really started with my dad. And I had just gotten my permit to drive, and we were driving in Sarasota, Florida. I believe it was Fruitvale Road. And I'm driving down, the light's green, looks good. Keep going, I'm going like 45, whatever. And the light turns yellow. And I'm like, my dad's like, slow down. Slow down. I didn't slow down. Slow down. It starts to escalate a little bit. And eventually it's like, slow down. Damn it, Bennett, go. And like, I definitely, I say that I did not run the red light, but my dad disagrees. He definitely says I did. But after that, he's like, pull over, get out.
Oh, man.
Get in the passenger. He was mad, and I understood, but it was the funniest thing because it was DamnitBennett. And then from there it grew into like kind of a joke if I would do something stupid or especially in gaming. It was like, DamnitBennett, man, come on, and you hear that all the time. You watch my stream, I will like today I missed a snipe that I should have had. I'm like, DamnitBennett, like.
Oh, when you were on the balcony, I think I remember.
Yeah. Watching,
I was watching, like, man. I'm a real one. I know
that snipe that you missed. You should have gotten that one.
I'm a real one, Bennett. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where it comes from, and I don't know if my dad's as happy about it being that or not, but it was a funny time. But fast forward to where'szer.com and Zerwatch. So I joined an esports team, an esports org. Man, I can't even remember the year now. It's now a defunct team, but I was part of their content team, and I was one of the content creators for the channel. I knew I wanted to be in esports. I knew that was in this new area that I wanted to focus on. Right. A lot of people were telling me, dude, don't do it. Do it. You shouldn't do this. And I was just like, get this noise out of here. I know that this is going to be a huge thing, and I want to get some experience in this to see what goes on. So I joined this team, and it was whatever. But I was a huge Destiny streamer, and I met another Destiny streamer in that, and that was XOXO Kara Lee. And you know, we became friends, you know, through that org and streaming, and she got approached by whereisher.com to be the live component of the channel. And so they basically were like, hey, you know, we would love to have you, you know, find Zer. We don't really play Destiny anymore, but we're still updating our website. And we, you know, we would love for you to be live and then just tell us what it is and we'll update the site. And so she started doing that. And then around that time, she was like, hey, I need help. Like, would you like to do this with me? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So we started doing it. And that's when the owners of whereisher.com said, hey, you guys seem to like this. Do you just want this? And we're like, oh, okay, whatever. Why you're lying? And they're like, no, we have other ventures that we're getting into, other businesses that we started, and we do not have time for this. But we really like you guys, and we want you to have it. And so they gave us this website, which is, to me, is like, this is crazy. Like, I'm clearly in a
acquisition,
you know, right. Yeah, right. And so basically we took over the site, and we created a business called Arcadian Glitch. And essentially we have, you know, definitely high aspirations for what Arcadian Glitch can become. Right now, it's just kind of the company that houses whereisher.com, but you know, we're really interested in expanding that. But if you don't know what whereisher.com is, there is a NPC in Destiny called Zer. He shows up every Friday at reset in the game, and then he sells the exotic weapons and armor that most people are playing the game that are thereafter, right? And so you use material that you collect in the game to buy these items from Zer, and each week it is a different random thing. And so for us, we started a channel called Zerwatch on Twitch, and I think we're at like 12,000 followers now on the channel. There's a lot. I can't remember what it is now, but we actually had been trying to apply for partner on Twitch. Unfortunately, they had declined a 1 day a week show. So we said, all right, cool, we'll go check out YouTube. And so we've been over on YouTube recently, and doing both doing a live stream on YouTube, and then creating the video content for the website on YouTube. And we've really started to understand, you know, what that content is really looking like as far as Zer is concerned, and YouTube and Twitch, and how it all works together. So we're really excited, you know, to continue that and continue to grow that. And obviously we'll talk more about those plans in the future. But, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, I'm lucky to have, you know, Carolee to be a part of this with. I think it's something that, you know, this opportunity, you know, that came out of nowhere, essentially, we've really kind of transitioned into something that's really cool. And we have people showing up every week, you know, at reset or an hour before reset to hang out and talk about and wonder what Zer's got. And I think the other really cool thing about Zer, and you know, I want to be quick about this, is that Destiny has a huge community of people, and it recently went free to play. If you're anyone like me that plays Destiny a lot, you already have all of the exotics. So Zer doesn't really mean anything to you. But there's all of these new people when the game went free to play that don't have them and that count on Zer. And I remember in Destiny 1 when I first figured out what Zer was, and how exciting it was. Like, I wonder what he's got this week. I gotta find him. Where is he?
It's like an event.
And I would go to whereiszer.com. They'd be like, oh, what does he have? Where is he in the tower? You know? And you know, to be able to be on the other side of that now and know that we're helping you know, community members that are really excited about what Zer has, and maybe it's going to be that thing that they finally can get so they can complete their exotic collection. Like, that's such a cool thing, such an exciting you know, community to be a part of. And I know that you know, we've had a lot of fun, you know, building Zerwatch and building, you know, and iterating on top of the website and doing all these different things. So if you haven't been to whereiszer.com, go check it out. You'll see this guy usually, and if Kara isn't working, she'll be there as well, which is always fun. But it's definitely something really cool and unique, you know, kind of approach to you know, a NPC of a, you know, in a game, and this website. It's really cool. So
Absolutely love it. And shout out to your partner, Kara Lee, shout out to all the partners of that. Shout out to my partner, Eduardo. I don't know if you're watching, because, it's really a team that puts it together. Bennett, I just have to say, it's freaking insane how much value Verizur provides. It's
Yeah.
reoccurring value, right? Because we've all been in that game, right? For me, it's Dark Souls. If I
Oh yeah.
find a glitch or something to give me that edge over
Hmm.
something killing me, I will scour the internet and like call people up. And you guys were able to do that for new players coming to Destiny, because you're kind of inviting them into this tribe, and it's an
Hmm.
amazing value. I definitely want to keep providing that same value to our viewers. So I want to talk about this because it's very important, because you've done
Yeah.
a really amazing job. Um, Building a brand, very broad. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people, you can go on YouTube and talk about it. But building a brand in the gaming industry, so saturated. Everyone's doing Valorant highlights. Everyone doing Warzone highlights. How the hell did you pierce through and resonate? You've talked a little bit about it, keeping up with the small viewership you have now. But what else can you do to really keep, I don't know, an image in someone's mind? Be like, oh, I'm gonna go watch Bennett again. Like, are you? I'm gonna stop talking because apparently I'm not doing a good job. But what have you done to build your brand, and what can you provide an audience for us, and some advice?
I think it's kind of like an onion. There's a lot of layers
Mm-hmm.
uh to and not just like me, but I think any content creator that is out there creating content that people are resonating with. For me personally, I've always just tried to be genuine in who I am, and that means that I'm not the greatest player sometimes, and I maybe say stupid things. An ongoing meme with whereiszer.com is some of the Destiny exotics. They're kind of a mouthful, and I'll definitely stumble through them and call them the wrong thing, and people are like, bro, that's not how you say that. And it's funny, and you just kind of have to laugh at yourself when you have those moments. And I think that's, for me, that's been part of it, is just rolling with the punches, man, and just letting it be what it is and have a good time. And so for me, I've always tried to um hopefully encourage my audience to have fun and be a part of whatever silly things we're doing. I think there's times where it's easy to get frustrated in the middle of a raid when it's not going right, but taking it a step back and having a breath and saying, hey, all right, let's get back there and do it can really be helpful.
Right.
When it comes to the content. Breaking through, though, it's tough. I think you have to find your niche, and that could be, maybe you're like a really good editor and like your videos are really like top notch, and you've added value to the content that you're creating by making really cool edits.
Right.
It's things where you have had the ability to take knowledge that you already have about something else that can apply to streaming, and you can bring that in on your stream and your channel. And to go back to something that I had done like early on in my streaming career, I had this series on YouTube, which I haven't done in a while, but it was called Damn It Noob, and it was all about getting started with streaming. And most of the things on that now are so out of date because they were from so long ago, and all the streaming software has changed and gotten better since those videos. But back in the day, those videos were quite popular, especially one called Kappa Gen. And this is actually now a feature in Stream Elements. Stream Elements bought it from the developer that created it. I don't know how much he got it for. Hopefully they paid him a lot of money, but I definitely had a role in its popularity because I created this video called Kappa Gen. And basically, if someone typed in an emote in your chat, it would actually show up on the screen in the overlay, and it would be float by. And so I was a part of the very first the time it was called DestinyCon charity stream. Now it's GCX Charity Marathon. But it was basically a week-long charity stream benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And the very first one, we raised $500,000 for St. Jude. At the time, it was the largest single donation to St. Jude from a gaming event in history. Obviously, they've blown that way with every single year. After that, this year, they raised $6 million. I'm really honored that Full Sail was able to be a part of that. I actually got to host our 4-hour block at Full Sail in the Fortress on the GCX channel, which was a lot of fun. But during that very first one, there was a song, and I'm totally, I can hear it in my head, and I'm blanking on the name. Brain Power. It was Brain Power, I think it was. And the chat wanted to hear Brain Power, so I was like, all right, if we hit this next goal of it was probably like $3,000 or something, we'll do Brain Power. Or Ocean Man. It was probably Ocean Man. And I would turn on Capagen, and they just went crazy. And it was just, my computer almost crashed because there were so many emotes flying through the screen.
Oh, man.
And after that, Professor Berman asked me, hey, what was that? How did you make those the emotes on the screen? And I was like, oh, here's this video. And he shared the video, and it got a ton of views. And eventually Capagen got bought by Stream Elements, which was pretty awesome. But for me, getting back to the point, was creating these videos of how to implement these cool features into your stream was a thing that I had done. Fast forward to another website that I own is called freestreamresources.com. And
guys, go check it out. Sorry.
I have all, like, I want to be creative. And a lot of times if I make something, I just make it for my stream, and then I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll use it, and then maybe I'll throw it away later. But I just had I wanted to get that creativity out. So I'd create some motion graphic stuff or overlays or stinger transitions that I would never use. I would just make them like, okay, I'm not going to use this. And I'd put it away. And I was like, man, I should just like put these up somewhere
in a catalog, right? And that's
for free,
right?
And just give them away or something. So I just started this website, and you can go to it and you can download a bunch of stuff. And I've been super busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to update it, unfortunately. But I thought that was a really important part of my journey as well, was creating content that I didn't ask for anything for. I wanted to give back to the community and say, here, use the thing. You don't have to credit me. There's no copyright or anything. Just go use it, have fun. If you want to come check out my channel, that'd be cool. And a lot of people have come by and say, hey man, I really like the stuff. Here's a sub. Oh, thanks. Or hey, I appreciate you, using it. I put a link on my channel to your channel. Awesome. Thank you. You didn't have to do that, but that's very cool of you. And so I think part of it is trying to give back for me. Right. That I think if we all did that more, it would be awesome. In the music industry, it was very cutthroat, and I did not like it. Bands didn't necessarily always like other bands. There was this competition, and it was just like, the carrot at the end of the stick is big enough for everybody to enjoy. If we work together, we can get there together. Type of mindset is something that I always had in that world. And I think if we all kind of can think about that when we talk about streaming and content creation, more people can be more successful because everybody's working together. And I think that's a hope that I still have for streaming. And obviously it's gotten so big now, where, it is daunting to look at, but I definitely think that it can still happen, and being creative, being yourself is always the way to go.
By the way, I just have to say, thank you so much for providing those resources, because someone like me who doesn't really, just to get started, having that catalog and downloading it, you're providing a lot of value. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely, man.
Guys, go check out freestreamresources.com, and it'll definitely help me out. So Bennett, I feel bad because I'm taking up a lot of your time, but I really want to get into it. We heard a little bit about you and how you built your brand and everything like that. I want to ask one question before we go into esports, right?
Yeah.
And it's really about leaving a legacy.
Okay.
Now, no one wants to think about it, but we're all going to die one day, right?
Right. Just got very dark here.
It's get very dark. Trying to keep it light, you guys. but what legacy do you want to leave? What is the memory that you want to leave for people? And I think that's really important because it's every single day you wake up with a passion or a reason or a purpose. What is that for you, and what do you want to leave for the next generation?
Yeah, man. I think, for me, the love and compassion and loyalty that I have for the people that I care about and the things that I'm passionate about. That's really what means a lot to me is those things, and being a part of this community. And I hope that my legacy would be that people were able to come together and enjoy their time and feel accepted. And I think that's the biggest part of it is no one wants to be alone, like you talked about before. No one wants to feel like
outsider.
they're the outcast, and like I know that that's hard sometimes, and we all are different, and we all have things and challenges that aren't on your face, that people are going through that you don't necessarily know. So the compassion that you can have for people without even knowing them or knowing what's going on, I think it's such an important part. So I do hope that my legacy, is involved in that area where, people that knew me and whether they came and watched my stream, or they know me from Full Sail or at Esports or at music, knew that I was, that I cared about them, and I wanted to be there for them as much as, humanly possible. And hopefully, that's the legacy. I think that's kind of a legacy everybody wants to leave as well. But, being a member of something, being a part of a team, being a part has always been a core, component for me, in a lot of the things that I do, is being, it's not just like this one person thing, it's a group of people being, involved in that. So that's really important to me.
You said something, and you said a lot of people want to live that, leave that legacy, but not a lot of people leaving that legacy. And I feel like you're doing so with this community, and you don't have to be known as the person who's done it all over the world, but if you're known in that small niche or that community, it's all worth it. And I definitely appreciate that. All right, switching to the final gear, because I want to make sure I get to you. Bennett, you are an esports strategist at Full Sail University. Can you please let people know what the hell does that mean? All right, just to be frank with you, and what Full Sail is and what type of program you guys, because you guys are kicking ass, and I definitely want more people to know about that.
Absolutely. So esports strategist, man, that title, it spans everything, honestly. I always kind of say I just wear a lot of hats, right? And one day I'm working on an event that we're doing at the Fortress with an incredible production team and crew, and the next day I'm flying to a gaming convention across the country and representing Full Sail and meeting different partners and talking with just random folks that are at these events and networking. And the next day I'm on this show and we're having a conversation about esports and gaming. And so there's a lot of PR, but then there's actual events, and then there's communications, and then strategy. And really, for me, my job entails all of those different things. And one of the goals for me is, I've been at Full Sail for a very long time, and I've worked in a lot of the different areas that the school has, from outreach to student support to admissions to enrollment. So I've had a lot of knowledge and understanding of what Full Sail is. And for esports, this is a brand new area, and it's not always smooth sailing in the world of esports. Right. So navigating those seas is really important, and making sure that we're investing in the right areas and in the right ways is really a big part of my job as well. So understanding that strategy and heading the ship in that direction is going to be, you know, a huge part of what I, you know, oversee. And so again, wearing a ton of different hats, it's a lot of fun. Again, I never thought this would be, you know, something that I was doing. You know, for me, I always had a dream to go to E3, you know.
Oh,
I
man.
was like, man, that would be so cool if I could go to this when I was younger, you know. And I went to E3 last year, and it was the
Freaking sick.
coolest thing in the world. You know, I got to see Cyberpunk and watch. You know, I didn't get to play it because they didn't have a hands-on demo, but I got to watch it behind closed doors. It was so awesome, man. I'm so pumped. But you know, it was just like one of those things where I never thought I was going to be able to go to something like that, and here I am going to that, and being able to fulfill those you know dreams that I had is wild. It's just I never thought that my career would take this turn, and you know, it all started from me going, hey, I'm gonna try this Twitch thing out. You know, like I
So
make the
many
joke like,
opportunities.
who would have thought playing video games on the internet would have led to this? You know, like you never know, and that's why I always say just do it. See if you try it out. You know, see if you like it, and you know, so I'm very blessed and honored to represent Full Sail in these ways, and you know, obviously the esports side of things is really exciting. And I swear, I think we're busier than we have been in this pandemic. We've been doing a lot,
Really?
you know, in regards to digital and virtual events, to tournaments. You know, I know that my colleagues, Jameson Dural, who's our director of esports operation, and Hoyt Dingus, aka Clever Dingbat, who is our team managers, they've been working incredibly hard on, you know, getting our varsity teams up and running in the middle of a pandemic, and holding virtual tryouts and doing all of these crazy things to really get those teams ready to go. And so it's definitely you know, a different look for the year, but we're really excited you know, about what's ahead. And you know, this is you know, going to be a great another great year for the teams, and I'm really excited to when we can finally get back to a place where we're actually holding events in person.
And real quick, just so everyone knows, I mean, Full Sail University here in Central Florida has been a part of esports for a long time.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about the Fortress? I mean, that was breaking ground. How many teams you guys have, and the different different leagues that you guys are part of, and different games that you guys play?
Absolutely. I mean, just to give kind of a oversight or overview of the whole thing is Full Sail's always kind of been involved in esports, and you know, obviously back in those days everybody referred to it as like just competitive gaming,
Right.
but we held a lot of these events. I mean, I remember going to them, or the earliest were around 2012 or so. We were doing things with Red Bull, MLG, EA, and they were all taking place at our live venue on our campus. And these were huge events. I mean, Ninja was there, you know, Nate Shot, Hex, all these people, you know, that are legends now.
Right.
You know, Courage JD. You know, all these people are like huge gaming celebrities. They're all there, you know, at Full Sail in these tournaments.
That's cool. I
Call of
wish I
Duty
could have been there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, it was, you know, all these events were open to the public. You know,
Oh,
anybody could
man.
come in, and so those were the early days. But regardless, esports is kind of in the DNA of what Full Sail is.
Right.
Our degrees are very specialized. We focus on entertainment, media, and arts, and we've always kind of been the career path behind the star or the musician, or you know, we have an incredible film program. We have an incredible recording arts program. If you want to be the person that's in the recording studio doing mixing and engineering for these incredible rock and roll, you know, gods, Full Sail's the place to go to learn all of that. You know what I mean? How do you go learn those things? And that's what we do. And so the really cool thing about esports is all of the degrees that we offer have these like paths into esports. And so fast forward to now, we've built the largest esports arena on any college campus in the country. It's over 11,200 square feet of, you know, space for any event. You know, we kind of have this as the home of Armada, which is our esports teams at Full Sail. But we hold a lot of other events there. We do obviously in-house events for our students, but we've held the NBA 2K leagues mid-season tournament, the ticket there last year. We've held Red Bull Conquest there, kicked off their Conquest tour around the country. We've held the Blizzard Hearthstone Collegiate Championship in the Fortress at the end of the year. So this is a state-of-the-art facility. The technology in there is incredible, but more importantly, the Fortress is a classroom. And I think that's the most exciting thing about it, is that not only these crazy, awesome events happening, but there's students learning. Right. There are students that are producing these events. There are students that are participating in these events. And this is their classroom. And that's such an exciting part of the career and the education that you get there, is that you're able to get hands-on in these spaces with the top, gear. Like I said, the technology in the Fortress is out of this world. And, we're really excited that our students get to utilize this. I always talk about the WWE NXT. We shoot that live in one of our other venues, our live venue. Prior to the pandemic, it was like twice a week they were doing it. I think they're down to one time a week now. I'm not really sure, but I haven't been back on campus in quite some time.
Same. I drive by and I see the WWE stuff.
Yeah, so it's happening there. But the really cool thing about that is that we have students that are working those events, right? And so cool. When they graduate, they get to walk across the stage and already have WWE on their resume because they work these things. Sick. And that's huge. And so we're doing the same things with these esports events that we're doing, for our students, which is really exciting. And people are able to walk out the door and start getting into positions in the world of esports. And we find that incredibly awesome and exciting. And I'm really excited. We keep publishing stories on the Full Sail website. So definitely check it out. It's fullsail.edu. We have some great in-house writers that have been writing stories about some of our grads that have gone off and done incredible things in esports. So it's definitely a really exciting time, and we're excited to see kind of what happens.
It's freaking sick, man, because just so people get in context, our audience is kind of like people that are in gaming and people that are not.
Right.
It's kind of like an engineer that goes to school and gets to work with Boeing and GE and then gets to graduate. So that's freaking awesome that your students are working on the events that are being broadcasted. One thing I want to talk about, as far as, I think you would really provide immense insight, is the backbone of the esports industry. You alluded to it. It's not the star-studded teams. I mean, that's everything that we see and come and love. I mean, I think I watched the Call of Duty League this summer, like I watched in the NBA Finals on the edge of my seat. Absolutely love the teams. Absolutely love the stars. Yeah. But the hordes of pivotal roles behind it, programming, production, stuff I can't even fathom, Ben. I'm going to be honest with you. That were behind the teams. Can you talk about, right now, there's people that are graduating college, there's people that are moving away from corporate America. How is the industry of esports that it's coming up can provide an opportunity for them, and how should people start considering esports industry as a viable option for them to find their next career path?
Yeah. So, this is something I talk about all the time, because I think it's one of the most important conversations that needs to be had about esports, is that there are so many opportunities and careers in esports. And this is just like any other industry. It is not just about being good at video games. Now, granted, if you're going to be a pro, yes, you have to be really good. There's no way around that.
Dang it.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's like, hey, but there's so many ways you can be involved. There is such an important support structure to every esports organization, every esports league, every esports arena, anything and all thing esports have these different paths that you could go for your career. You talk about content creation. These, especially the large, teams. Let's just talk about 100 Thieves, for example. Hands down, some of the best content any esports team is putting out.
freaking entertaining as hell.
Absolutely. It's hands down the top. And I love to give credit where credit is due. So if I am wrong and Nate Shot is back there editing every one of these videos, hands down, bro, you are the best. But most likely they have this huge team that does, and that's what they do. They edit videos. They're video editors. There's motion graphic artists. There's all of these different people. Then there's the marketing and the social media. There's the people that actually are there filming with the teams as they go from event to event. I had the opportunity to go to the Call of Duty League launch event in Minneapolis back in January.
Awesome.
And it was an incredible experience. We got to be up on stage for the very first match. And it was very cool. It was a great experience. But it was really great to talk with some of those people that are in those positions, talking with people that, hey, I run, I do content for the Dallas Empire, and that's what they were there. They were there. They had their video camera. They had all the other things in their backpack that they were there following the players around, getting the shots, doing everything that they needed to do. And that's a career. That's a huge opportunity. And so one of my goals is to always talk about not competitive gaming, but talk about what surrounds it and what supports it and the opportunities for that. I always say, and I'm used this analogy so many times, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Joe Montana. That was my hero. Like I loved football, and I played quarterback, and then I realized that I was not that great. I'm like, had I wanted to continue that dream of becoming a professional football player, I probably wouldn't have been very successful. But if I want to continue to work in the NFL, there are so many opportunities. You could go into sports writing, sportscasting. You could work for a team. You could work for an agency. You could work in marketing. You could work. There's all of these different paths that you could go to still be involved in the thing that you were passionate about. Hey, you're not going to be Joe Montana, but you could be involved with the league.
Right.
Same thing with gaming. Same thing with esports is, hey, you may not be, the best player. You're not going to be whoever, but you could be one of the people that support them. You could be one of the people that helps this league or this venue or arena or organization. There's all of these different paths, and more importantly, these types of positions are needed, and are getting filled by people that are just going out and saying, hey, I'm going to go do this, and then they submit their resume, they take their portfolio, they go to they're taking the initiative to take those next steps. Those are the people that are out there that are getting these positions and being successful, and we want to help create the next leaders and the future support kind of structure for the world of esports.
That's pivotal, and you kind of hit on the nail on the next question I want to ask. And sorry, I know we're kind of going over here, but I'm trying to get as much as I can over
Absolutely.
you. If I'm a new grad or if I'm leaving my job, Bennett, how the hell do I find a job in esports? I can't go to monster.com or Indeed and be like, esports something. How do I find the jobs? Where do I go research?
Well, I mean, surprisingly, there are places, LinkedIn and other places that you would typically go to find jobs. Sometimes you can find some esports stuff. Granted, may not always be the best. This kind of goes back to that other moment too. And I know that as a grad, you got to pay your student loans and all of those things too. So if you can't find something right out the gate, don't let that stop you from taking something else. You can still do these things on the side as a hobby until, again, they present an opportunity to not be a hobby. Right? So I always encourage that. Volunteering for local conventions, GCX is in Orlando. Obviously, it didn't happen this year because of the pandemic, but next year it will be in Orlando. Volunteer, be a part of that. Get involved with that community. Other gaming events, are here in the Central Florida area. We do events at the Fortress all the time. There's a lot of opportunities to, volunteer and just be part of it. And you never know where that's going to go. So I encourage everyone to just get out there and be involved. most of the time too, if you volunteer for those types of events, they let you hang out in the event after you're done working, or your time for volunteering is over and you get a free ticket. So like you get into the event, which is awesome. So take advantage of those things. The other thing is a new platform called eFuse. I've met these guys through esports and working, with them on some other things. I'm part of their collegiate advisory board, but they have a great platform. Imagine LinkedIn and gaming, like a LinkedIn for gaming and esports. That's eFuse, and obviously it's so much more than that. But they post opportunities all the times. Obviously, if you're in high school, this is a huge area because there's a lot of opportunities for scholarships, things like that. But they do post a lot of job posting. They even have a Discord bot that you can pull into your Discord, and it pumps out different opportunities every day for new positions,
Awesome.
different things like that. So I'd highly recommend checking out eFuse if you're looking to get into the industry. The other thing too is just start doing it. Like I'm incredibly impressed with what you've been doing so far since we first started having conversations
I
last
appreciate
year.
that.
You know, what you guys have done with your company, what you've been doing with YouTube. Well, I've been watching your TikToks and your YouTube videos, man, and
I
like it's
appreciate
awesome
that,
to
man.
see, dude. Like I'm impressed by what you've done, and you've taken the initiative to go out and do it. That's really cool, and keep doing that. And I think that's an easy way to have something behind you that when you go and apply for these types of positions, if you can't show them what you do or tell them, like have like, hey, here's the thing that I do,
Right.
you know, they're going to be way more interested in talking to someone that can show them that type of material, that you've actually done the thing and practice it, what you're trying to tell them that you're going to do for them. So, creating this content on your own, doing the things that you want to do, starting, a tournament, like go to any of these sites that you can host, tournament brackets on, and start a gaming tournament with your friends and invite some people. Like little things like that can really spawn into, things that you never anticipated growing to. So I would highly recommend that. Again, getting back to the volunteering thing, CEO is in Orlando. If you're into the fighting game scene,
Right.
hit up Jabali on Twitter. These events are really important, and they are community events, and they are led by the community. They need the community to participate and volunteer in them. And those can, you do a good job at that, they can always open up, doors. You never want to close doors. You always want to open them, and try to provide a service that you would be proud of, and that you would want to hire someone again for when you go to these volunteering opportunities.
Bam, guys, mic drop. Bennett's out here speaking wisdom. I just want to say thank you, man. And before we end it off, I have to pay the bills, so I'm gonna put in a little shameless plug. Guys, right now, FLUIX has made the world's first multi-inlet water block for CPU cooling. If you're a PC gamer, streamer, PC enthusiast, someone who builds computers, and you're looking for the next generation of liquid cooling to really push your overclocks, let's say you're gaming for hours, consider checking out the FLUIX TRI-SWIFT. In the YouTube video, I'm going to put it in the description below. It's a water block that you can really push your performance of your PC, and you can really get the overclocks and all the gaming and the benchmarks coming out. We're going to have some more benchmarks video coming out, but right now we're doing a pre-order campaign. So if you fill out our interest form, you get $20 off the TRI-SWIFT. And I just want to plug Bennett in real quick. Bennett tried out our FLUIX wall station, which is our wall-mounted liquid-cooled frame. Bennett, what were your thoughts? So real quick, 30 seconds, and just be real with us.
Man, honestly, I've never had a water-cooled system before, so it was something that was brand new to me. I always thought, I was like, there's no way I would ever be able to build something like that for myself. So to see it and utilize it was huge. I honestly, when I got it and I set it up and I turned it on, my wife walked in and said, "Whoa, that's really cool looking." And I was like, "Yeah, it's very cool looking." It was great, and I really enjoyed utilizing it. I have 2 PCs in here that I definitely need to figure out my airflow system better, because it is now very hot in my room again. When I was using just one of them to stream and the wall mounted unit, it didn't get to the temperature that it gets in my room. So there's definitely a huge opportunity there for you guys, and I had a blast using it. I thought the performance was fantastic, and it was definitely one of those real fun things that we got to do. Because of all of this, man, gaming, streaming, esports, all of it. It was a very cool trial.
Thank you, man. And I hope we continue our relationship. Of course, we appreciate you being on the podcast. Before we end it off, man, if you have 30 seconds, I know you talked about all the different things you're a part of. If you have anything you want to communicate to our audience before we kind of end over here.
Man, be nice to each other. Like that's a big deal. But you can follow me on Twitter. It's or anywhere else. It's DamnitBennett. If you just search for that, you'll find me. And check out Full Sail Armada. Also, type in Full Sail Armada pretty much anywhere. It'll take you to the right place. Give those channels a follow as well. And wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Guys, be safe out there. Also, go check out FLUIXengineering.com if you guys want some awesome liquid cooled hardware. Thank you again, Bennett. I wish I can give you a round of applause for coming on the show, but it's only one of us over here.
Well, I was happy to be here, man, for sure.
Thank you, man. I'm sorry for taking up more than an hour and 30 minutes of your time, but there's going to be a lot of content I can deduct from here, so I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Anytime, I'd be happy to come back. And, when we're back at a place where we can do, events and all of that, we'd love to have you out to the Fortress and give you another proper tour. We got, we didn't even talk about it. We got to tour you and your crew a year ago.
Right.
I don't even know if the Fortress was open at the time.
We had the inside looks, bro. Thank you so much for hooking it up. It was
exactly
freaking. I walked in there and I was like, whoa, like the possibilities. You guys have it decked out over there. It's amazing.
It was awesome. So hopefully once we get back to a place, we can do some cool stuff, and I'm excited for it. But thank you for having me.
Thank you, Bennett. All right, y'all. Have a good night. See y'all later. Hey everyone, this is Abhi from FLUIX. If you're a PC gamer, chances are your CPU cooler might be boring, and you could really use more performance out of your gaming rig. Introducing a truly one-of-a-kind solution from FLUIX, the world's first multi-inlet water block, the FLUIX TRI-SWIFT. The TRI-SWIFT design has a high-flow configuration, with 2 dual inlets on each side of the water block, injecting turbulent flow onto the heatsink. This greatly increases the rate of heat transfer and performance. The center outlet efficiently exhausts the heated fluid out of the water block. Thermal throttling, you say? We never heard of it. Game, stream, design, and overclock endlessly with the FLUIX TRI-SWIFT. If you're interested in seeing this product out on the market, you can get $20 off the TRI-SWIFT by filling out our interest form. Go to fluixengineering.com/preorder and scroll down to get to the Get Notified button. Fill out your name, email, and make sure to opt into our newsletter, and you'll receive your $20 off coupon.